You are still listening to Frequency 404. We stay on the air as long as we can, as long as we need to. It has been 72 hours since the word soon appeared across every screen, every device, every broadcast frequency on Earth. Since then, the countdown has stopped. The lights have gone still. The crafts have ceased descending. And then, silence returned. For 3 days, nothing moved. No more signals. No more strange pulses. No more changes in altitude. Many dared hope it was over. Some even claimed we'd passed a test, that they had measured us and found us unworthy, then left. But tonight, at 3 a.m. UTC, the waiting ended. In a remote desert outpost in Nevada, personnel stationed near one of the low-hovering crafts reported a phenomenon unlike any other. A portion of the underside split open, not mechanically, but more like a membrane peeling back, revealing a blinding white void. And then, it stepped out. Witnesses described it as humanoid, but that word feels hollow here. It stood on 2 legs, yes, but everything else about it seemed impossible. The body shimmered as though it wasn't fully material, like smoke trapped in glass. The head lacked a face, yet observers swore they could feel it looking directly at them. It moved slowly, with deliberation, and with each step, sand and stone beneath its feet darkened, as though stained by its presence. Cameras failed, instruments failed, radio failed. Only the witnesses' memories remain, and even those are inconsistent. But one thing every witness agrees on: it spoke. No sound, no words, but into their minds directly. You are the first to see. Reports are coming in faster than we can verify them. But one thing is certain: the world is no longer the same. The Nevada encounter was not an isolated event. Within 6 hours of the first figure's appearance, similar reports began to surface, first scattered and tentative, then flooding in from all corners of the globe. In the streets of São Paulo, a figure emerged from a craft hovering above the city center, stepping onto the rooftop of a government building and remaining motionless as panicked crowds filled the avenues below. On a windswept plateau in Mongolia, another appeared, striding across the frozen grass as herders abandoned their livestock and fled. In downtown Lagos, in the shadow of a half-finished skyscraper, yet another stood silently as power grids sputtered and streetlights failed one by one. Always the same. Humanoid, faceless, impossible to photograph or record. Always the same message, burned into the minds of those closest. You are the first to see. And with each appearance, the world fractured a little more. In Paris, protests erupted overnight. Thousands demanding transparency, screaming into the cold air that they too deserved to see what others had seen. In Cairo, a cult calling itself the Chosen of Soon took over a radio tower and broadcast their own garbled sermons, claiming to have decoded a hidden message in the being's words. In Seoul, a full military unit defected, sealing themselves in a bunker and declaring that humanity had already lost the right to resist. And in New Delhi, soldiers opened fire on a crowd of civilians trying to storm the gates of a government complex, convinced the officials inside were hiding direct contact. Trust began to evaporate between nations, between citizens, even between neighbors. People reported strange behavior in loved ones. Blank stares, sudden violence, unsettling laughter at nothing. Whispers of something spreading, whether fear, madness, or something more, circulated like wildfire. And still the figures came, one after another, each stepping out of their craft, each choosing a different place, each watching in silence as humanity tore at itself. Somewhere, perhaps, they were counting. We don't know what's coming next, but it's already here. The air feels heavier tonight, or maybe it's just us. It has now been several hours since the first figures stepped out of their crafts, since they took their positions on open ground, in quiet streets, on rooftops and hillsides, and stopped. And they haven't moved since. They simply stand, their bodies faintly shimmering, their faceless heads tilted as though listening to something no one else can hear. They do not speak. They do not react. They do not even seem to breathe. People gather at a distance, unsure what to do. Some shout. Some fall to their knees. Some just watch, unable to look away. A few have tried to approach, but those who get too close are stopped, not by force, but by something deeper. A ringing in the skull, a tightening in the chest, and a single thought that is not their own. Not yet. The hours crawl by. Still, they do not move. The world holds its breath, caught between panic and paralysis. Even the wind seems to have quieted, as though the earth itself waits for what comes next. And that stillness is worse than any threat. We'll keep watching, because there's nothing else left to do. After all these hours, something finally happened. The stillness broke, not with a sound, not with a flash of light, but with a movement, small, deliberate, and impossible to ignore. One of them, just one, shifted its weight. A slow, fluid turn of its head toward the nearest onlookers, as though it had chosen someone. And then, it raised its hand. Fingers, if they can even be called that, extended, shimmering like glass in sunlight, and pointed directly forward. No one moved. No one spoke. The gesture held for what felt like an eternity. Then it lowered its hand, took one step forward, and stopped again. And then another, elsewhere, did the same. And another. And another. Not all of them. Not all at once. But enough to make it clear. The waiting was over. Witnesses closest to the figures reported the same sensation, a pressure behind the eyes, a rush of alien thoughts and images impossible to hold on to, and one phrase echoing through their minds: "You will come." Whether it was a command, an invitation, or something worse, no one can yet say. What followed was silence. The figures returned to their statuesque posture, their arms at their sides, their gaze fixed. But everything felt different now. They had moved. They had chosen. And somewhere, deep down, humanity understood. There would be no going back. We'll keep watching and waiting, because now it's your turn. Something is happening now. Something we don't understand. Something we can't stop. It began slowly. At first, no one dared move. But then, almost without realizing it, a handful of people, those nearest to the figures, took a tentative step forward. No one called to them. No one ordered them. They just followed. And the figures moved in response, turning, gliding forward at the same unhurried pace, with the humans trailing close behind. Their destination? Unknown. Their purpose? Unspoken. But step by step, more people joined. Some tried to stop them, shouting, grabbing at sleeves, blocking their path. But it was no use. The ones who followed didn't resist, didn't even look back. They simply kept walking, their faces blank, eyes fixed ahead. Soon, thin lines of silent processions wound through streets and fields, crossing rivers and highways, converging on points no one could predict. Each led by one of the faceless figures, each growing as others left their homes, their shelters, their hiding places, and joined the march. Not everyone followed. Some stayed behind, watching from doorways, windows, rooftops, too afraid, too stubborn, or too paralyzed to move. But those who remained felt something just the same: a pull, a quiet pressure building in the mind, like a voice waiting for them to listen. You will come. And the ones who resisted began to wonder how long they could. The figures do not hurry. They do not speak. They do not turn to see who is behind them. But the lines keep growing. Step by step, hour by hour, they lead humanity somewhere unknown. And with each passing moment, the quiet grows heavier. The choice, thinner. We don't know where they're going. We don't know if we'll follow. But already, it feels inevitable. We've been here since the beginning, and now it seems we've reached the end. The processions grew until there was no one left to watch them pass. Every street, every plain, every shoreline was filled with silent lines of humanity, walking in unison behind the figures who had come to lead them. Those who resisted at first, those who hid, those who barricaded themselves, found it harder and harder to hold out. The pull in their minds became unbearable. Some screamed as they gave in. Others simply opened their doors and stepped outside, joining the endless march, until no one was left behind. No one but us. From here, through the static of this broadcast, we can see what waits at the end of their path. A shimmering horizon, brighter than dawn, stretched across the land where the crafts first descended. A great chasm of white light, rippling like water, widening with every passing moment. One by one, the figures lead their processions into the light, and one by one, the humans follow. Without a sound, without a glance back, disappearing beyond the threshold. We've tried to hail them. We've tried to warn them. We've tried to understand. But none of them respond. Not anymore. Now the last figure stands at the edge of the light, waiting for us. Just us. We can feel its gaze even here, through the wires and transmitters, as though it knows who we are. As though it's asking, "Will you come?" We don't know what's beyond the threshold. We don't know if they're leaving or if they're being taken. We don't know if we'll ever hear them again. But we know this. The silence they brought has been replaced by something far worse. The emptiness of being left behind. This is frequency 404. We've stayed on the air as long as we could. Long enough to see the end. Long enough to choose. And as the last of humanity steps into the light, the static swells, the signal fades, and the voice of the faceless figure whispers one final word into our minds. Welcome.